me too. Anyway, let's move away from this and get back to this.
An incident is not really
we'll check back into that in a second. I gotta pee,
as
though.
it spans the course of several days. Depp and Heard were staying in a private resort on the Gold Coast of Australia. Having gotten married a month earlier, they were having arguments about pre- and post-nuptial agreements. Depp had again fallen off the wagon, if it can be said he had ever truly been on it. At one point, Heard claims he downed 10 MDMA capsules. Depp berated and assaulted Heard multiple times over a 3-day stretch, but the epicenter of this incident is in the second day. Heard went downstairs to find Depp in the games room, having been up all night on ecstasy. Lines of cocaine were on a nearby countertop, and he was drinking from a bottle of Jack Daniels. Heard said something to the effect that his substance abuse was getting seriously out of hand, and soon Depp was flying into another rage. He grabbed her neck and shoved her against a fridge, telling her he could easily crush her neck. She managed to get away from him and out of the room, but he continued to assault her throughout the day, and eventually pushed Heard to her limit. Sometime after the assault in the games room, Depp was still drinking booze from the bottle and began taunting Heard, asking if she wanted to take the bottle from him, which prompted her to snatch it from his hand and smash it on the ground. Depp then flew completely off the handle. He began picking up full liquor bottles and hurling them at Heard as she ran from him. He grabbed her by the hair and threw her across a room where she smashed into a ping pong table which collapsed under her. Shortly thereafter, Depp was gripping Heard's neck and repeatedly bashing her head into the fridge, screaming she made him do this. At this point, Heard's bare feet were beginning to get cut up by broken glass on the ground. He stripped her naked, ripping off the nightgown she was wearing, and started grabbing her breasts. At one point, he ripped a mounted phone off the wall and began repeatedly smashing it right next to Heard's face. Though in the midst of the chaos, Heard did not notice at the time. Depp had slammed the phone with such velocity that in the process, he had severed the tip of one of his fingers. A lot more on that in part 2. Depp continued assaulting.
It's okay, it's literally censored. I already pre-watched it.
Heard for some time, and over the course of everything, her hands and arms wound up badly scratched by broken glass. The episode was so severe, Heard genuinely feared that she might die, but finally Depp relented and she was able to retreat to the bedroom. She locked herself in and took sleeping pills to make it through the night. The next day, when she went downstairs, she found that Depp had painted various messages on a lampshade, a sofa, and various mirrors, some of them scrawled in his own blood. Among the messages were the words "Easy Amber" and "Starring Billy Bob," alluding to an affair Depp suspected Heard was having with Billy Bob Thornton. Heard found Depp in an office, still drinking from a nearly empty bottle of Jack Daniels. More verbal abuse followed, but upon learning how badly injured Depp's finger was, Heard was ultimately able to convince Depp to contact his security team, who arrived sometime thereafter and took him to a hospital. But not before Depp began urinating in the house, attempting to write Amber Heard's name on the walls and carpet.
So I want to push back a little bit on this because I want to push back a little bit on this immediately because like this is definitely one where like this is on Johnny's side for sure. Like this Amber Heard's position on this is ridiculous, and Johnny Depp is correct in this matter. And as a matter of fact, I'd even go so far as to say this instance of abuse, this is Amber's version of the events, obviously. These are Amber's testimony and Amber's version of the events that took place. Remember, this is just the Amber side first. But this and the judge's opinion, the prior judge's opinion in the UK, the Oibrov judge's opinion in the UK on this court case, specifically looking at this one incident, is what made me really reconsider. Reconsider the situation across the board, and certainly realize that like this and the other one, there's another one where like she claims she was fucking bruised in the face and that Johnny had hit her and headbutted her and stuff like that. Those two incidents together basically destroyed the credibility of the prior judge on the libel case against the Sun, or the libel case against the Sun, where the judge basically fucking literally sided with Amber Heard on all of them.
Again, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard ultimately reconciled after this incident.
Coordinated drip campaign. It continues with a slick brown jacket. Thank you.
On the night of December 15th, Heard was assaulted by Depp in one of their LA penthouses. During the assault, he dragged her around various rooms by her hair and tore several clumps of it out as she struggled to get free. At one point in this incident, Heard decided to make a gesture of defiance. When Depp knocked her to the floor, she stood back up and looked him straight in the eye. This angered him, and he knocked her down again. This pattern repeated itself several times until Depp took a step back and headbutted Heard in the face, causing her nose to bleed.
This is the other one that's bullshit, by the way, straight up. This is the other one. Why is he making it sound like it's facts? Because he's just showing Amber Heard's side first. You will understand what he's trying to do now. But this and the way that the judge deliberated on this made me realize, like, oh, fuck, the previous judge was bullshit, okay?
At this point, Heard resolved to leave Depp for good and warned him that if he touched her again, she would call the police. But this did not deter him from continuing to assault her. More slapping, hair pulling, choking, etc. Eventually, Depp was on top of Heard on a bed.
There's a recording of him saying he headbutted her, though. Yes, I know. We are going to hear. Can we just wait for a moment? Can we wait? Or do you want me to explain it? It doesn't matter. Because he openly admitted in court as well in this round of the legal drama in the defamation case that he was trying to subdue her and their heads butted against one another. But ultimately, she claimed that her nose was broken. She had 2 black eyes. She had lumps of fucking hair taken off of her head. That she was beaten severely, as you can see in the deposition ahead of you, in front of you. Whereas multiple fucking witnesses involved immediately after and throughout the entire fucking process deny seeing any bruises whatsoever, including Amber Heard's fucking friends who had no reason to lie against Amber Heard or claim that she was fucking wrong. There's literally a medical professional involved in this incident that openly took fucking notes and said that there were no visible bruises. She went in and actually wrote that shit down. And the judge still sided with Amber Heard and said this could have been possible, that Johnny Depp brutally beat the shit out of her. So you're making me ruin the video, but like Johnny Depp openly admits that he was trying to, while he was getting punched in the back of the fucking head, turned around and tried to subdue her and like stop her from punching him, as you do in a situation like that, and their heads clash with one another. Johnny Depp basically is still in that conversation that you're referencing, saying, after she said, you headbutted me, he said, my headbutt clashed with your fucking forehead. How can I break your nose in that situation? You basically repeating what she had said. That doesn't mean he actually fucking cracked back and like hit her in the head. What is it, Zinedine Zidane, dude? You think Johnny Depp was just like running around fucking headbutting motherfuckers? Like, that's a crazy move to pull on people. But again, it doesn't matter because you probably also fucking think that like he cut his own finger because he said, I cut my finger in a fucking text message. Because that's what the Amber Heard side literally is. The Amber Heard defense straight up is Johnny Depp cut his own finger. Because in a text message he said, I cut my finger. And in another text message he joked about, fuck. Oh my God, that was so good. Oh, fuck. Not very feminist of chat, lol. Oh, fuck me. That was good. Because he joked about cutting his own finger, so it must have been real. He actually like took a fucking knife and chopped his own finger off, right?
Pushing her face down into the mattress and pulling out more of her hair. He had his knee on her back, his other foot on the bed frame, and he began punching her in the head. The last thing Heard remembered was the bed frame splintering before she blacked out. When she came to, she heard her friend Raquel Pennington, who lived in another penthouse on the same floor, crying out in shock. Pennington and another friend, Melanie Iglesias, who was also Heard's makeup artist, had let themselves in after not getting an answer at the door. They took pictures of the bed, Heard's facial injuries, and clumps of her hair that were lying on the carpet. Similar to the Australia incident, Depp left behind a note, scrawled on the kitchen counter with a gold Sharpie. It read, "Why be a fraud? All is such bullshit." Again, ultimately, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard remained together. On April 21st, Depp showed up to Heard's birthday party at
Motherfucker said pirates play finger roulette all the time. Yeah, dude, he was playing finger roulette. You're right. Yeah, you're just making up something that, I mean, I guess you're probably joking.
LA penthouse, 2 hours late and clearly drunk and high. After the attendees left, Heard expressed to Depp that she was disappointed and hurt by the slight, and soon he was in another rage. He threw a magnum bottle of champagne and other bottles and/or glassware at her, which resulted in her being hit by pieces of shattered glass. Eventually, Depp left the penthouse, smashing various pictures and photographs on his way out. The next day, Heard travelled with friends to the Coachella Music Festival. That same morning, one of Depp's housekeepers discovered what they deemed to be human feces in Depp and Heard's marital bed. Depp became convinced that either Heard or one of her friends was responsible, while Heard maintains the excrement would have come from one of her 2 Yorkshire Terriers. More on this in part 2, unfortunately.
Anthony just dropped the Hasanabe video? Fuck yeah, we're gonna watch it afterwards.
On the evening of May 21st...
Yes, it's official. My video, A Day in the Life with, or I Spent a Day with Hasanabe is out. Anthony Padilla interview is out. We're going to watch the fuck out of that after this.
Depp and Heard met in their LA penthouse to discuss their relationship and what promise, if any, it had. Depp was drunk and high again. He was still enraged over the feces incident. Fearing things would soon escalate to violence, Heard texted Raquel Pennington to come over. Depp made an accusation that another of Heard's friends, Io Tillett Wright, was responsible for the feces. Heard then called Wright, put him on speakerphone, and asked him to address the accusation, knowing it to be untrue. Given the inherent absurdity of the situation, Wright began laughing, and this pushed Depp over the edge. He snatched the phone from Heard and began screaming down the line at Wright, before throwing the phone and storming upstairs. Heard retrieved the phone and spoke to Wright, who urged her to leave the building. Before long, Depp had returned. He again snatched the phone from Heard, screamed at Wright one more time, then wound his arm up like a baseball pitcher and threw the phone with full force straight at Heard's face. It hit her right in the cheek and eye.
I said, "You hit me." I was crying. I said, "Johnny, you hit me," because then I start hearing things being smashed, and I said to him, "Honey, you hit me in the eye, my eye," and I start crying, and he grabs my head, takes a fistful of my hair and says, I hit your eye, huh? Let me see your eye. Let me see your eye. What if I pull your hair back?" And he yanks my head back, and he's, I don't know, smacking my face or moving my face or yanking me from side to side with my hair. I don't know if he's trying to grab my face or if he's hitting my face or I don't know what's happening, but he's yelling at me, he's screaming about let's see how hard I hit you, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs.
Okay.
Help, please help. I guess I say call 911. I'm screaming for help, not just in case Io is on the phone, which I don't know because the phone is somewhere after hitting my face. I don't know where it ricocheted and bounced off to.
It was around this time that Raquel Pennington arrived on scene. There was a scuffle as Pennington attempted to defend Heard, and then Depp began drinking from a Magnum wine bottle and smashing various objects with it. Depp's security team arrived at this point and were able to convince Depp to leave the premises, though he continued to smash and throw various objects as he left, and spilled wine in the penthouse and outside hallway. Pennington and her husband, Josh Drew, took pictures of the damage that Depp left in his wake, including the injury to Heard's face. It was this incident that proved to be the final straw.
An ugly red mark is visible on the face of Johnny Depp's movie star wife Amber Heard as she leaves court with her lawyer Friday. 30-year-old Heard is claiming domestic abuse by Depp. A judge granted her request for a temporary restraining order, calling on Depp to stay 100 yards away. The hearing came as this shocking photo came to light, a nasty bruise clearly visible. The photo was reportedly taken Saturday night. One report claims Depp threw an iPhone at her.
People has learned exclusively that this is not an isolated incident, so while this photo is very shocking and it's news to a lot of people, the source tells us it's just the latest incident like this.
These additional photos were attached to the court documents. They show Amber's nasty bruises, plus an injury to her chin. And these photos from inside Johnny Depp's house show a shattered picture. Shards of glass are on the floor. This photo is a bottle of wine on the floor along with a red stain, presumably from the thrown bottle. Amber Heard broke down in tears as she was driven from the courtroom in an SUV. The shocking photos couldn't come at a worse time for Depp, who was on a promotional tour for his new movie Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now he has serious issues to deal with.
But for a time, he was able to deal with those serious issues in a manner that did not entail the incineration of his career and public image. Depp and Heard reached a settlement in the process of finalising their divorce, in which Depp paid Heard $7 million, and neither party really admitted to any wrongdoing. They released a joint statement that read, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm." Translation: Depp did not admit being an abuser, Heard did not admit being a liar or a gold digger, and both of them were free to move on with their lives. As part of their arrangement, Heard dropped the restraining order, and both parties signed non-disclosure agreements to ensure there would be no further mudslinging in the press. And that's by and large what proceeded to happen over the course of the next year or so, with both
until the sun Came out of the fucking gates swinging, boys.
Heard and Depp continuing to work as prominent movie stars. Most notably, Heard starring as Mira in the Aquaman film franchise, and Depp as Dark Wizard Gellert Grindelwald in the Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts franchise.
Let's be real though, this was trash anyway. But hey, you know, that's separate. You know, he lost that role and stuff, but also this was trash.
The latter of which was at the root of things becoming openly acrimonious again when on the 27th of April of 2018, executive editor and columnist for British tabloid The Sun, Dan Wooten, penned an article on The Sun's website strongly criticising J.K. Rowling for openly expressing delight over Depp's casting, in light of the Harry Potter author's outspoken support for women's rights, contrasting with Depp's reputation as a, quote, wife-beater. That prompted Depp to sue The Sun's publishing company, News Group newspaper, and Wooten for libel, which led to a 3-week trial in London that commenced in July 2020, with Heard testifying as the defendant's key witness. Depp also took the stand.
The judge in the UK was just a fucking freak, okay? Straight freak shit. I'm gonna be honest. It's just like the unconditional support that the judge delivered to Amber Heard in that trial is actually ridiculous. But you'll find out why.
And for several days. You probably already know what the outcome was.
It was the backdrop to this summer's legal blockbuster. Today at the High Court, Amber Heard and the Sun newspaper emerged victorious. The actor claimed her bruises were inflicted by ex-husband Johnny Depp. The judge accepted this and the description of Depp as a wife-beater.
Today it's probably cost Johnny Depp hundreds of...
And remember, like, ultimately in Britland, okay, in Oibruvland, it is actually much easier to sue someone for defamation. It's much easier to sue someone for libel. It's wild that Johnny Depp actually failed on this one, straight up.
Millions of dollars, and he can make
it's
all the
not like America at all
after the verdict and all the statements he wants, but the words are Johnny Depp, wife beater, and the consequences of that are when big family movies are being cast, they're not going to cast Johnny Depp.
Announcing he would appeal, Depp's legal team said the decision is as perverse as it is bewildering. Most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of the mountain of counter evidence. With very few witnesses to their violent arguments, the judge had to decide who was telling the truth. He came to the conclusion that on the vast majority of occasions it was Amber Heard. The judge
vast majority of cases out of the 14 incidents, the judge was like, in 12 of them, physical violence and abuse was probably the case. Literally took hook, line, and sinker Amber Heard's defense, saying, oh, yes, I was physically abusive, even including in the fucking finger cutting incident. Oh, yes, I was physically abusive, but I was only doing that to defend myself from how powerful and scary Johnny Depp was, okay, who was physically much larger than me and intimidating, right? The judge literally said, even in circumstances where she admitted to fucking, beating the shit out of him or hitting him or fucking in that incident where like his finger was cut off, that yes, Amber Heard probably was in fear of her life and that's why she behaved the way that she did. Even in instances where like she was the one who was fucking responsible, like the responsible party. And also the way that perfectly fucking aligns with what Amber Heard openly stated in phone conversations that were leaked after during their original divorce deliberations or the divorce conversations, makes it so much more damning because she literally fucking turned around and was like, no one's going to believe you, Johnny. No one's going to believe you if you say you abuse me. Fair? You think it's fair? You think it's a fair fight? You're so much larger than me. No one's going to believe you. Go ahead. Tell people that I abused you. And no one will believe you. That's precisely what she said. And it was true. This fucking court did not believe him.
Dismissed the idea that Miss Heard was a gold digger and accepted her career had probably been damaged by the revelations.
I traveled here to the UK to testify as a witness to assist the court. After obtaining a restraining order in 2006.
So also, if I'm going to be fucking charitable to the Oibruvland, okay? The fact of the matter is, there is at least one out of the fucking 14 incidents where Johnny Depp was physical with Amber Heard and was fully in the wrong, okay? The private jet incident. So, because of that, technically you could say Johnny Depp is a wife beater, okay? You could say that, even though in the other instances, Amber Heard either fucking made shit up or literally fucking was the responsible party. There is that one specific incident where that is true. Not 12 out of the 14, but 1 out of the 14 incidents in the private jet specifically. Johnny Depp was the abusive party. He himself recognized that he was the abusive party. We will get to that in a little bit. But no, the plane one is not fake. No.
16 and finalizing my divorce, I just wanted to move on with my life. I did not file this lawsuit, and despite its significance, I would have preferred not to be here in court.